All right, analog testing continues. This is the Nazgul Evoque from Iflight. Paid for this with my own money, and we're gonna be reviewing it. Let's give it a go. What's good, guys? Ken here, you're watching Original Dobo. Today, we're taking a look at this, the Iflight Nazgul 5 Evoque. Holy shit, that's a mouthful. Now, Iflight wasn't nice enough to send this out to me. I actually went and purchased this for myself. And the premise behind this video review is, I guess you can sort of say I'm sort of spot checking some of these other reviewers because I keep seeing the title that this is the best bind and fly drone that you can get today. And I was sort of curious about that, if this really was all the hype. I watched Joshua Bardwell's video and he was super excited about it. He's like, oh, it rips balls and all this shit. So I was like, you know what, let's buy this. Let's buy the analog version, and I'll explain why I bought the analog version. Let's fly it, put it through its paces, and see if it really is all that it's cracked up to be. I'm super critical and cynical when it comes to products, especially things I pay for. So I'll just tell you straight out of the gate before you get any further, if you don't want to watch this entire video, yes, this is everything that it's cracked up to be, and it's tuned, it's on the freaking rails straight out of the box, which sort of blew me away. So I'm sorry for second guessing you, Josh. I really am. But with that being said, let's talk about the build quality, because I think that should deserve its own little section in this video. All right, so the build quality of this quad shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody, but it is top-notch, super excellent. Not only is it excellent, it is just a stunner. It looks amazing. It's like nothing else on the market currently today. Along the side, you have these guards that basically seal off all of the internals from the outside world, which is pretty interesting. I've never seen anything really like that. Diatone came close with their little fender guards, but it didn't quite do what this does. This is almost like an all-in-one, almost like something you'd see at a DRL or something. I can't explain it, but there's lights that go from the front to rear, these LEDs that run along the side. I think they look incredible, especially at night. It really lights up like a Christmas tree. It's like Rockefeller Square when this thing is plugged in. It's got more LEDs than you could shake a stick at, and I've shaked a lot of sticks in my time. I probably should have rephrased that. It only comes in this green color, so if you were hoping for any other colors, sorry, Charlie. And Charlie, if you're watching, I'm super sorry, but this only comes in green, unfortunately. The arms are plenty thick, and the LEDs even extend out through the arm, which again is pretty interesting. My only real concern with the build quality of this is if you do break an arm, you're going to run the risk of maybe something shorting out, or it's just going to be an absolute pain in the butt to repair this because these LEDs actually run through the arm. Beyond that, I can't see it being too difficult to repair or too difficult from anything else, but just something to consider. Something that I thought was gimmicky at first, but actually grew to love, was this integrated XT60 mount. This sort of blew my mind. Like when I first saw this, like, why? You don't need anything like that. But after using it for a couple of weeks, I'm sort of like, I like this integrated mount. I never have to worry about my balance leads smacking around hitting a prop. I don't have to worry about anything coming loose and hitting a prop. So kudos to you, Iflight. That actually works pretty damn well. And using the 1200 Speedy Pizza batteries, this works more than adequately, and it's just the right amount of length to get your XT60 in there without having to worry about the balance lead sort of smacking around. Another sort of notable thing here is how I have the straps. You'll see that the way they have these cutouts and the way this top plate mounts, you can actually fit your straps in there. I'm using some Ethics straps, but this will work fine with any strap of your choice. But it's just sort of quaint how they have that, and it just works really well. So you can run 2 straps on your batteries, and fits really, really well. So kudos to you guys. All right, let's talk about the internal components, because I think that needs its own conversation as well. All right, so the internal components are as follows. We have the F7 Sussex flight controller, and then we have a 45 amp all-in-one ESC. Now it's good for a max burst current of 55 amps. In my testing, I found that this worked just fine. It also has a 600 milliwatt VTX, which I left it on its stock settings, so I don't even know what power output this VTX is actually using. I haven't flown analog in forever, so I just left it on its factory settings. And matter of fact, for everything, I left it on its factory settings while using this. But I would say this, that this thing is tuned exceptionally. And the only time I ever connected this to Betaflight was when I was actually binding my controller to the Crossfire. This also uses Crossfire, and this is a 6S build. The motors on here are the Zing E Pros. These are like Zing's new line. It's like the budget line, which is sort of weird because I was hoping that they would have put the Zing line on here, considering it was such an expensive build, that maybe they would have opted to put better motors on here, or like the more pro version of the Zing 2s maybe, but I guess that wouldn't have really matched the whole color scheme. But just something I was thinking about as using this. But I've crashed this, I've smashed this, and I don't have any bent bells. The only thing I did have a problem with was when I was changing props out, I did have a hard time getting the prop nut off for some reason on this. So I just changed out the prop nuts, and I haven't had that problem since. But otherwise, I think that that's fine. These Zing E Pro 1800 KVs work really well. The props that I'm using, if you're curious, these are the GemFan 4S props. It's just something I've grown accustomed to, and I've been pretty happy with that. All right, let's go ahead and just take a look at the tune, because I left the stock rates, the stock PIDs, whatever Iflight shipped this with is what I flew on for the past couple of days. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and dive into the PID tuning that Iflight has shipped these with, because I think that's where a lot of the magic is. Because I will be completely honest, this is the first bind and fly quad that I haven't had to do anything with, or really felt like I had to tinker with their tune. So let's go ahead and jump to the PID tuning tab just to take a look at what they've done as far as filtration goes. Let's look at the filter settings. So the filter settings are just a little bit pushed. It's like 1.3 and 1.4. So, I mean, not really the least amount of filtering. It could probably be a little bit more, but I mean, what they've done here in the filters seems to be pretty solid. I mean, I haven't tried this tune on any of my other Betaflight builds, but I would venture that it would probably fly pretty good as long as you can match your components 1-to-1. Now, something interesting here is they did ship this quad with actual rates. Sort of interesting. They have 60 on the Expo all the way down. They have the max rate at 900, and then they have the center stick sensitivity at 190. I didn't touch any of this, and I will have to say that these rates actually feel pretty damn good, even though I typically fly a little bit slower at about 680 on my max rate, but this feels really excellent. Looking over the Pid Profile Settings, I'm not seeing anything really that sort of jumps off the charts at me. They have the feed forward at like 108, 114, and 100. I mean, it's all pretty standard stuff. I mean, nothing really crazy. Cutoffs at 10, set point. Yeah, I mean, everything looks pretty solid here. I mean, they're pushing things. These numbers definitely aren't the default numbers. So if anything, I think a lot of what you're experiencing with the way this thing is flying is honestly in their tune. They've really got it dialed in for the weight and the components that they're putting in here. But that's not to say that this tune they have on here wouldn't fly equally as well with other components. I'm gonna have to test that theory with one of my other quads. But with that said, let's go ahead and jump out to the field for a flight and commentary test. Oh, getting a little breakup right there. I haven't changed the VTX. So what it is what it is. I think this tune is really, really exceptional. The Iflight team has done an amazing job. You know, it works really well with their components. Like, nobody knows their stuff better than they do. And it really shows. Oh, getting a little squirrely there. I mean, these dives are insane. To be able to have this sort of control. I'm happy. I didn't bring a lanyard with me, so I'm sorry if the stick cam's all fucked up. Little taparoonie. Wish I had a sticker. I mean, it does take a little bit to get used to analog again, but I mean, once you gotten used to it again, you're good to go. And I mean, the latency factor is amazing. This is a short flight. I don't think I had this battery all the way charged. I've been beating the shit out of this thing the past 3 days. And I gotta tell you, there's like literally no prop wash. And I'm a KISS guy. Oh, as I eat shit right there. Alrighty, so after flying this for a couple of weeks, I gotta say, I feel fully confident with the analog version. I think they've done a great job. This race cam looks amazing, and the VTX put out plenty of power to where I really didn't have any problems. I just had a little bit of issues at that school where I was getting a slight bit of breakup. But again, this is the default settings on the VTX. I didn't change any of the power outputs. So if I had to suspect anything, it's probably still at 25 milliwatts or 100 milliwatts. Not 100% sure, but I'll dive deeper into that to see. I just wanted to see what it would do right out of the box, because I think a lot of beginners, when they first get these, they're just gonna leave it on its default settings. And for the most part, this thing is just exceptional. Is it the best bind and fly quad that you can get right now? I'd say so, because it has zero prop wash. Zero prop wash, and I was trying, and you can listen to that video and you can almost hear it if you know what it sounds like, and I couldn't detect any, and it felt super dialed in, which this is honestly saying something from somebody that is been flying KISS for the past 8 months now, and I'm super spoiled with the way it performs. This really sort of blew my mind. For $279, if I wanted to convert this over to a digital quad later on, I could totally do that. It is tight inside of here, but it can be done, and it can probably be done pretty easily with the Caddx Vista, but I don't really have any intention on doing this. I'm probably gonna leave this set to be just an analog quad. It is really fun to fly, and I still think analog has a purpose. Do I think that the reviewers that have had these in their hands are full of shit? No, I don't think so. I think these perform well. There's something to it. Do I trust iFlight's components though in the long run? And the answer is their flight controllers and ESCs, no, I don't. While this flies amazing now, I just can't say how long it's going to fly this way or how long it's going to last. A buddy of mine in New York had this same quad. He had it in the DJI version and it went into flames. He doesn't fly nowhere near as aggressive as I do. He's just sort of learning, and his blew up on him mid-flight. So iFlight's got a problem when it comes to quality control on their flight controllers in ESCs. That's just been a long-standing thing with them for the longest time. So while this flies amazing today, I can't guarantee that it's gonna fly amazing, you know, a month from now. I don't know what's gonna happen. Or after a few crashes, is this thing going to be able to withstand that? Really hard to say. But as of right now, I will say if you want the best flying experience, buy yourself one of these, copy the PIDs, put them into another build and fly this, keep this, but try iFlight's tune because they really do have some magic, and hopefully you can sort of emulate that success here on another build. But this is a good baseline. So basically I'm saying you're sort of buying this to have a good baseline if you wanted to replicate what they've done here. It's worth the 279 bucks. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. All right, that's gonna do it for this video. I'll have a link down below. They are not affiliate links, so if you wanna purchase one of these from your favorite store, go ahead and do so. Again, this is the analog version. The reason why I did not buy the digital version, because at the time of filming this, the digital version only shipped with the Caddx Polar cameras, and I didn't want to contend with that latency that that camera introduced. So that's the reason why I opted to go for the analog version, to try to keep that latency at a minimum, and I wanted to sort of test what it was like flying the analog version. The analog builds are usually a good indication on how good their digital builds will be. And I have to say, I am impressed. Doesn't mean I trust iFlight, and that's probably why they won't ship me any of their products, because I don't trust them. But that's gonna do it for this video. If you enjoyed, smash the like button. If you didn't, and you don't like that I wear my hat on backwards, a lot of people think I'm going bald. That's not the case. Fuck you. I wear my hat on backwards because I usually have goggles down. And honestly, if I have my hat forward, it's gonna shield my audio from my mic. So fuck you if you don't like that. I don't really give a shit. You don't pay my bills. At least I don't think so. But if you did pay my bills, then you can tell me how to wear my hat. And if you wanted to pay my bills, there's a link in the description where you can buy me a coffee, and then I'd consider wearing my hat on correctly. But if you're a degenerate like me and you don't want to wear a hat correctly, still buy me a coffee. I'll see you in the next video. Stay original.
Put all the egos in check. You're not entitled to anything else. I get 10 years of this under my belt. Your art is an art, they don't feel it, and nobody hears it. Initiative stay on the shelf. Your ego done got in the way. It gotta die today. It gotta go. You should be happy. I like